To learn more about how U.S. sanctions are impacting Huawei, I spoke to Adonis Hoffman. Adonis is a chairman of a corporate advisory group, Business in the Public Interest. He's also a former congressional and FCC lawyer. I began by asking him how the absence of Google apps could impact phone sales.
Well, I think it depends on where you live. So if you are in Europe or outside the United States, I think the phone will certainly have great appeal given the top technology. So if you're in the United States, unfortunately, not having the Google Suite or the access to the Google Play Store is a problem. Consumers will certainly want to have the access to all of those applications, those apps, and I guess the proof will be for the success will be for Huawei whether the outside the American markets will be sufficient to drive the kinds of returns and the kinds of consumer acceptance that will make up for losing what might be from the American market.
Let's talk about its performance globally, sir. Huawei is currently the second most popular smartphone in the world, the most popular phone in China, and its sales in Europe surged 66% in the first half of this year. So, all things considered, what do you think should the company do next to boost its popularity?
Well, you know, I think Huawei, the technology capabilities that Huawei has demonstrated over the years is well known. I think you can ask any company and most consumers that are aware of the Huawei products and capabilities of its technological superiority. So the capabilities are not a problem. The real problem comes with how Huawei is perceived in the American context, in the U.S. context, with respect to its technology and the intellectual property relationships that it has developed. A number of serious allegations have been levied over the years. There are court cases. So I think the challenge for Huawei is not in the technology. The challenge is for Huawei is in developing the kind of credibility and integrity with respect to its intellectual property, such that it can then embrace the entire the global market, not leaving out the American market. Of course, we know also in 5G that Huawei has a great capability, and it is one of the leading, if not the leading, manufacturers and providers of 5G technology. And I think that, again, the challenge becomes in solidifying those relationships, those partnerships with the U.S. companies, and making the reassurances with the government that are necessary to amend and bring things back together such that it can participate in the American market.
Let's talk about those challenges, starting with the trade war. Some observers say that even if China and the U.S. reach a trade truce in October, their confrontation and rivalry in technology will likely to continue, and Huawei will remain a casualty. So what is a way out for Huawei?
Well, you know, it was interesting. I was watching a video recently where essentially the video, and I believe it was on the Wall Street Journal page, correct me, forgive me if I'm not getting that correct, but the point is that Huawei's technology is so, at this point, intertwined into 4G technology, for example, and of course 5G will build upon 4G, so that it's virtually almost impossible, from what I'm told, to disaggregate Huawei technology from any 5G applications. That having been said, we also have seen two different points of departure with respect to Huawei and the trade conflict or dispute with the United States. On the one hand, you have a number of major manufacturers in the United States who say, we want to have the capability to work with, to employ and to integrate Huawei technology into our devices, on the one hand. And you have those, of course, who say that, you know, Huawei's competitive advantage is such that if it were taken out of the American context, it would give room for other competitors. So there is some, you know, it's not just one way or the other. It's not black or white. There are, I think, critical arguments, key arguments on both sides of the issue.